The culture of Kenya consists of multiple trends. Kenya has no single prominent culture that identifies it. It instead consists of various cultures practiced by the country's different communities. Cuisine. There is no singular dish that represents all of Kenya. Different communities have their own native foods. Staples are maize and other cereals depending on the region, including millet and sorghum eaten with various meats and vegetables. The foods that are universally eaten in Kenya: ugali, sukuma wiki, and nyama choma. Sukuma wiki, a Swahili phrase which literally means to push the wheat, is a simple dish made with greens similar to kale or collards that can also be made with cassava leaves, sweet potato leaves, or pumpkin leaves. Its Swahili name comes from the fact that it is typically eaten to get through the week or stretch the week. Nyama choma is grilled meat, usually goat or sheep. It is grilled over an open fire. It is usually eaten with ugali and kachumbari. Among the Luhyas residing in the western region of the country, ingako and ugali is a favorite meal. Other than these, they also eat sisaka, miru, managu and other dishes. Also among the Kikuyu of central Kenya, a lot of tubers, including ngwaci, nduma, ikwa, and mayanga are eaten, as well as legumes like beans and a Kikuyu bean known as nai. Among the Luas residing on the western region around Lake Victoria, kuon and wreck fish is a favorite, as well as gweno, alia, onyoso, enwan, dede, various birds and green vegetables, allowed, such as osuga, akio, muto, dodo, dek, apoth, and bo, all consumed with ugali. As you travel around the country, distinct differences are noted, mainly based on what foods are locally available around such areas. Grains are a staple food for groups that grow grains. Other communities such as the Luo and the coastal community have fish and seafood, for the staple food is available in such areas. In semi-arid areas like Turkana, foods made from sorghum are more common staple foods. As you move towards the city, food eaten by working families vary according to preference and ethnicity. Rice and stew is more common with working families, and other dishes like chapati, chicken stew, etc. National dress. Apart from its national flag, Kenya does not have national dress that transcends its diverse ethnic divisions, with more than 42 ethnic communities having their own traditional practices and symbols unique to them. This is a task that has proved elusive. However, several attempts have been made to design an outfit that can be worn as a national dress, much like the kente cloth of Ghana. Kiteng is a cotton fabric made into colors and designed through tie-and-dye and heavy embroidery. It is commonly worn by a number of Kenya's populations, though also worn in many other African countries. Kiteng is yet to be accepted in Kenya as an official dress, as it is only worn during ceremonies and non-official functions. The Maasai wear dark red garments to symbolize their love for the earth and their dependence on it. It also stands for courage and blood that is given to them by nature. The kanga is another cloth that is in common use in practically every Kenyan home. The kanga is a piece of clothing about 1.5 meters by 1 meter, screen printed with beautiful sayings in Swahili, and is largely worn by women around the waist and torso. Music. Kenya is home to a diverse range of music styles, ranging from imported popular music, Afro-fusion and Benga music to traditional folk songs. The guitar is the most popular instrument in Kenyan music, and songs often feature intricate guitar rhythms. The most famous guitarist of the early 20th century was Bonnie Mackey. Other notable musicians of the 60s era include Fadili Williams, recognized by many as the author of the hit song Grace Phillips that was later redone by Miriam Makeba, Boney M and Audi Kabaka. Popular music in the 1980s and 1990s in Kenya could be divided into two genres, the Swahili sound and the Congolese sound. There are varying regional styles, and some performers create tourist-oriented hotel pop that is similar to Western music. The Mushrooms, later renamed U-Yoga, was one of the popular groups in this era. In the recent past, newer varieties of modern popular music have arisen which are mostly local derivatives of Western hip-hop. Two subgenres have emerged, Genje and Kapuka beats. This has revolutionized popular Kenyan music and created an industry dominated by the youth. There is also underground Kenyan hip-hop that gets less radio play than Kapuka or Genje because it is less club-oriented and more focused on social commentary. Early pioneers include Poxy Pressure, Kalamashaka, and K-South. In Nairobi, hip-hop is viewed as more of a style than as a musical culture. There is a great correlation between the youth who listen to rap music and their economical status in the country, with the majority of them coming from wealthy economic backgrounds. Since hip-hop is portrayed through clothing, magazines, and CDs, all of which are expensive, only the wealthier individuals are able to enjoy these luxuries. Mainstream artists include Nameless, Red Sun, Necessary Noise, Nonini, Juakali, Kleptomaniacs, Long Numbers, Susanna Oyo, Ochienga Bura, Eric Weiner and others. The sounds run the gamut from reggae, ragga, pop, Afrofusion to hip-hop. Contemporary Kenyan music is becoming quite popular, with African-based music channels such as Channel O and MTV Base giving them a greater AUD. The Kizima Music Awards, which recognize musical talent across East Africa, were founded and are currently based in Kenya. Every year numerous Kenyan artists take out categories in the scheme. The African Children's Choir features children, many of whom are orphaned, from Kenya, as well as from other neighboring African countries. Film. The government has not been very supportive of the film industry in Kenya. Few locally made films have consequently been released. However, a number of foreign productions have been shot in the country. The most recent such movie is the award-winning The Constant Gardener, directed by Fernando Meirelles and starring Ralph Fiennes and Rachel Weisz. Other films shot in Kenya in the recent past include the Academy Award-winning Nowhere in Africa and Lara Croft Tomb Raider, The Cradle of Life. Sheena, Queen of the Jungle won great acclaim in the 1980s and was one of the first foreign movies to be shot entirely on location in Kenya. Other highly acclaimed films set in Kenya include Karen Blixen's Out of Africa, starring Robert Redford and Meryl Streep and directed by Sidney Pollack, and Born Free, an adaptation of the autobiography of Joy Adamson. In 1999, part of the movie To Walk with Lions, which featured actor Richard Harris, was shot on location in the country. Notable film actors from Kenya include Paul Onsongo, David Mulwer, Saida Onyilo, John Sibi Okumu and Njeri Ozik. Die Weiss Masai, a German movie about a Swiss woman who fell in love with a Samburu warrior, won an award as the best foreign language movie, though it was received very poorly in Kenya itself. Rise and Fall of Idi Amin, based on the Ugandan dictator, was shot in Kenya and is considered one of the most successful movies produced and directed by Kenyan. Indigenous Kenyan filmmakers include Ingalo Wakia, Albert Wandago and Judy Kibing. Nowhere in Africa, an award-winning German production, tells a story about German Jewish refugees living in Kenya during Second World War. Most of the movie is set in Kenya and numerous scenes show actors, either Kenyans or main German actors, speaking Swahili. Some of the latest notable productions include the footage screened to the music of U2, Robbie Williams, R.E.M., and other acts at the Live 8 concerts in Europe and the US in July 2005. Africa Mon Amour shot over a period of 3 months in Samburu, Shaba and Lamu with the renowned German actress Iris Berben. In 2006, the Kenya Film Commission was established by the Kenyan government in 2005, but only became fully operational in mid-2006. Television. Acting for television has proved popular with the Kenyan audience. This genre has been around from the 1960s when actors like Mzee Pembe graced the Kenyan television screen. Others, like Benson Wanjiru and Mary Kavia, followed later with the comedies presented exclusively in Swahili, reaching millions of households courtesy of Kenya Broadcasting Corporation television station. Serious television drama was witnessed for the first time in the early 1990s with the entry of popular actors like Paxson Ngugi, BMJ Muridhi alias Ben Mutua, Jonathan Muridhi and Betty Achieng, alongside other thespians who featured in a variety of TV shows following the liberalization of the airwaves by the Kenyan government. Tushurian, a Swahili television series featuring Kenyan fine actors like Dennis Kashero and Tony Malame, had premiered in the late 1980s, becoming arguably one of the most popular productions to ever hit the Kenyan TV screens. A new genre in the form of stand-up comedy followed when actor Joni Nderitu entered the scene. The new style was later to be perfected by the group Red Eye Killers, a trio of young Kenyans, Walter Mongare, Tony Njuguna and John Kia, who specialized in political satire. They lampooned not only the establishment but also Daniel Arap Moi, the Kenyan president at the time. The lampooning of the Kenyan head of state was unprecedented and could have easily led to their prosecution, or even detention without trial, had it been done in the 1980s, when mimicking the head of state and exhibiting any form of political dissent was considered treason. Other stations known to promote theatre in Kenya include Nation TV, Kenya Television Network and Citizen TV, all based in the nation's capital, Nairobi. K24, the newest TV station to enter the scene, started its test run in Nairobi in December 2007. It captured the interest of many mainly because of the introduction of Jeff Koinange, one of the most popular Kenyan journalists who has worked for major international media houses like CNN as its chief news anchor. A satellite and internet-based 24-hour Pan-African TV channel, A24, was scheduled to start broadcasting from Nairobi in 2008. This will be in honor and memory of world-renowned and award-winning Kenyan photojournalist Mohammed Amin. Theatre. Kenya holds an annual drama event, the Kenya Schools and Colleges Drama Festival, which brings together thespians and students from around the country. The Kenya National Theatre is based in Nairobi opposite the Norfolk Hotel. Notable theatre performing groups include Iliad Abato's Festival of Creative Arts that stages regular stage performances at both the Kenya National Theatre and Alliance Francaise. Phoenix Players based at the Professional Centre, Heartstrings Ensemble and Mombasa Little Theatre Club based in Mombasa. Notable names on the Kenyan theatre scene include actress Stella Awinyamuka and Anwan Jagu, Liz Njaga and Adia Chiang. Thespians like Steve Mwenazi, Paul Onsongo and Jerry Ozuk. Ben Mutua, Jonathan Muridhi, popularly known as BMJ Muridhi, Gilbert Lukalia, Joseph Murungu and Paxson Ngugi are just but a few of notable TV, stage and film actors from the country. Renowned director Tiraskath cut a niche for himself and is perhaps the most well-known theatre directors in Kenya today. In the late 1990s through the early 2000s, Wahome Mutahi followed in the footsteps of the legendary Ngugi wa Thiong'o when he through Igiza Productions, teamed up with Tiruskath and embarked on a project dubbed Taking Theatre to the People, which saw them stage numerous productions, mainly political satires, at night spots throughout the country. Other notable directors include Festival of Creative Arts' Carol Odongo and Mabeki Mwalemu, as well as Mumbi Kaigwa, who are some of the most popular female directors in Kenya. George Mungai of Phoenix, Keith Pearson, Sammy M. Wanji, John Sibiokumu and Victor Burr are well-known directors too. Video gaming. Video gaming is a young sector in Kenya, though various startup companies have appeared in the country since 2007. The existing businesses are dealing with funding issues and few successes have been made. However, shared spaces, support programs and government grants introduced over the past few years have allowed the industry to grow large in a short period of time. The introduction of broadband internet in 2009 spawned a generation of young ICT-savvy people in the country, and the Kenyan game industry is, as of 2015, among the largest in Africa.